Your silent season is over. Not winding down, not gradually concluding, not slowly transitioning. It ended, completely and permanently, at a specific moment in the last few days. And the impact of what is about to begin moving in your life is so significant that every force in the spiritual universe has been placed on alert. The quiet that surrounded you, the invisibility, the stillness, the maddening sense that nothing was happening while everything inside you was ready, that was not stagnation. That was the final compression before the most powerful launch your soul has ever experienced in this lifetime. And it has done compressing dot in the entire spiritual archive of human destiny. The transition from a silent season into visible impact has never been authorized at this velocity for a soul who had not yet been formally notified. Normally, the universe releases momentum gradually, allowing the soul to adjust, to acclimate, to process the shift over months of incremental movement. But your case has been classified as urgent. The silence lasted longer than it was originally designed to, which means the momentum that was building behind it accumulated beyond standard levels. And when that kind of compressed potential is finally released, the universe does not ease it out. It detonates. And here is how you know this is already happening in your life. Think about the last 48 hours. Something has felt different, and you have been unable to name it precisely. A restlessness that does not feel like anxiety. An anticipation without a specific object. A sense that you should be preparing for something without knowing exactly what to prepare for. Your energy has shifted. Your thoughts have become clearer and more directional. Ideas that felt theoretical are suddenly feeling executable. That internal climate change you have been noticing is not random neurological noise. It is the 7 signs of your silent season ending activating simultaneously inside you right now. What you are not told is that your silent season was actively monitored from its first day to its last. The dark forces that profit from human stagnation had a specific investment in keeping you quiet, keeping you invisible, keeping you in the loop of preparation without ever reaching the threshold of release. They applied pressure through discouragement, through comparison, through the slow erosion of belief that anything was actually building. And the divine forces watched every day of your silence with a different kind of attention, documenting your faithfulness, your continued investment in growth when growth produced no visible return, your refusal to abandon the process, even when the process seemed to have abandoned you. They watched when you kept developing your gifts during the silent season, even though no audience had arrived yet to receive them. They watched when people around you were being celebrated for results, and you absorbed the comparison without allowing it to redirect you into performing for visibility instead of building for substance. They watched when your faith in the process flickered, not when it was strong, but in the moments it nearly went out, and you chose, in the dark, to feed it anyway. They watched when you were offered premature exposure that would have launched you before you were ready, and something in you declined, choosing depth over speed. When the record of your silent season was completed and submitted to the councils that govern the timing of divine launches, the beings who classify souls according to their readiness for impact reviewed everything you had built, everything you had endured, everything you had refused to abandon during the years of invisibility, and they reached a determination that stopped the standard review process entirely. You had not simply survived a silent season. You had used it with a level of intentionality and faithfulness so rare that your case was escalated immediately. The classification assigned to you was reserved for souls whose silent seasons produce enough substance to sustain not just personal impact, but generational influence. And when that classification triggered an escalation, and the report traveled upward through every tier of divine administration, it reached the archangels who govern the timing of launches, the ones assigned to souls whose silent seasons have reached full completion and whose release into visibility has been authorized by the highest level of cosmic review. They examined what you had built in the silence and confirmed that the foundation was not only solid, but extraordinary. And then the full report reached God, who looked at the gap between what you had quietly become and what the world had been allowed to see, and issued the command that this gap would be closed, immediately and completely. And that command became a decree that restructured the timeline of your life in a single moment. The 7 signs you have been feeling are not coincidences arriving independently. They are coordinated signals of a single divine directive being executed across every dimension of your existence simultaneously. Your energy, your clarity, your ideas, your opportunities, your relationships, your resources, your sense of readiness. All of them are being activated by the same decree, the same command, the same cosmic instruction that says the silence is finished and the impact begins now. Every sign you have noticed is confirmation that the launch sequence is not approaching. It has already begun. You are not the quiet, waiting, invisible version of yourself that the silent season required you to temporarily inhabit. That version served its purpose. It built what needed to be built without the distortion that premature visibility creates. But it was never your permanent identity. Your true identity is that of a soul designed for visible, tangible, unmistakable impact, an ancient carrier of gifts that were specifically forged in silence, because they are too powerful to have been developed under the pressure of public scrutiny. You are not emerging. You are detonating. And the world that ignored you during the silence is completely unprepared for the version of you that the silence produced. Your mission as you move out of silence and into impact is not simply to succeed. It is to succeed in a way that documents the faithfulness of the process for everyone who is still inside their own silent season. You are being launched not just for your own benefit, but as living evidence that the silence was worth it. That building without recognition produces something that performing for recognition never could. Every achievement, every open door, every moment of visible momentum in your life from this point forward is also a message to everyone watching that what is built in silence, built with integrity, built without shortcuts, carries a weight that the world can feel when it finally arrives. And because your mission is now entering its visible phase, the material world is responding with a speed that will require you to remain grounded. 7 simultaneous streams of alignment are beginning to move. Opportunities, relationships, resources, clarity, energy, recognition, and momentum, all activating at once because they were all being held at the threshold, waiting for the silent season to officially close. You will need to resist the urge to question whether you deserve this acceleration, because the question itself is a remnant of the silent season psychology. You built it. The launch is simply the universe delivering what was always owed to the work you completed in private. As your impact becomes visible, something extraordinary will happen in the lives of people who witness it. Those who are still in their own silent seasons, doubting, waiting, quietly building, while privately wondering if it is all pointless, will watch what happens to you and feel something reignite inside them. They will see the 7 signs you described reflected in your story and recognize them as already present in their own lives. Your emergence will function as permission for others to believe that their own silence is also ending, that their own launch is also being prepared, that the universe has not forgotten them either. You will become the proof they needed. And this is the part that will expand your understanding of what you are part of. You are not the only soul whose silent season is officially ending right now. Across this world, thousands of people who spent years building in invisibility, developing in quiet, faithfully investing in growth that produced no public return, are simultaneously crossing the threshold from silence into impact. The launches are happening in a coordinated wave, as if the universe has reached a collective threshold and decided that an entire generation of faithful, quietly prepared souls will all emerge at the same moment. You are not a solo launch. you are part of a fleet dot. If this message found you today, your silent season is already over, and something wanted you to receive that confirmation consciously, so you would stop waiting for permission to move. Comment 777 right now to mark this moment as the official beginning of your impact phase, and to signal to every force watching that you are aware. You are ready, and you are no longer waiting. Share this with someone who is still deep in their silent season and beginning to believe the silence means they are forgotten, because they need to hear that the signs of their ending are already present. Subscribe and stay until the very end, because the next transmission will show you exactly how to move now that the silence is over.